We're counting down 10 board games that captured our attention this month at Watch It Played, and discussing why each one caught our eye. This is On the Radar. I'm Paula Deming, and the first game on our list this month is one of Chaz's picks, the upcoming Weather Machine designed by Vital Lacerda. In Weather Machine, work alongside Professor Latif, inventor of the temperature tampering device, to alter the planet's climate to benefit various regions. Want rain on the plain in Spain? Well, say hello to snow in San Diego, and bear attacks. Not much information about Weather Machine is available yet, and the game may be coming to Kickstarter later this year. When I asked why this game was on his radar, Chaz replied, "I'm looking forward to the Weather Machine's arrival, and I've already made room in my basement and prepared ultimatums for our neighboring countries." Which makes me pretty sure Chaz misread the press release and doesn't realize Weather Machine is a board game. He had the same problem with Grand Austria Hotel and sunk his life savings into Central European real estate. And speaking of Chaz, here he is with an investment you won't find questionable.
This episode is sponsored in part by the 4th season of graphic novel adventures from Van Ryder Games. Tell me this right now. You enjoy games, puzzles, and books and pictures all combined together in literary format? Well, you are in luck, because Van Ryder Games scientists have successfully combined all of these things into their graphic novel adventures game books, which are unlike any game books that you have ever seen before. Unless, of course, you're familiar with books from seasons 1 through 3, because they're all based on the same fun premise. But regardless, these graphic novels offer a refreshing departure from the obnoxious walls of text that you find in old school version 1.0 books. Instead, you, the reader, become an active participant in 5 different stories that unfold in beautifully illustrated graphic novels. Where will your adventures take you? Well, hopefully they'll take you to vanrydergames.com through the link in this video's description, or to Kickstarter on June 22nd, when the campaign for the 4th season of graphic novel adventures begins. Book it.
Let's continue on to Matthew's first pick this month, the recently released Hadrian's Wall from Garfield Games. In this game, players are a Roman general in charge of constructing a castle and bordering wall. Over 6 years, rounds, because it's a board game, players will construct their fort and wall, man the defenses, and attract civilians by building services and providing wall-compatible entertainment, all while defending the honor of the Roman Empire from the warring Picts and bear attacks.
I chose this game because, first of all, I really like the theme. If you ask me, there's just not enough wall-themed board games and activities. Yes, there's rock wall climbing, but rock wall climbing requires a giant rock wall to climb, special gear, and sobriety. So I'll stick with Hadrian's Wall, and hope that, with all its combos, it's as heavy and as crunchy as an overcooked meatloaf.
Meatloaf? Ugh, there's no good reason for meat to be served in a loaf form. We're better than that as a society.
I didn't realise you had such strong opinions on loafed meat.
Meatloaf is the fruitcake of proteins.
What? It's like I don't even know you, Larry.
Larry. Moving on from molded meat misery to number 8, we have one of my premium personal Paula picks, Brew, coming from Pandasaurus Games. Brew takes place in an enchanted land that has been driven into chaos. Time is broken. Day and night are out of sync. The seasons all exist simultaneously. Skinny jeans are back in style. It's a giant mess. Now it's up to you, the cunning mystics of the forest, to tame extraordinary woodland creatures, use your magic to restore balance, and bring back denim overalls. Players accomplish this by choosing how to best use element dice, either employing them as in an area control game to take back control of as many seasons as possible, or as a worker placement game, obtaining vital goods at the local village. Matthew and I just played Brew during a Tabletop Live Network stream on Twitch, and that definitely put this game on my radar. Winning the game didn't hurt either. In your face, Matthew.
Well, that's just rude, Larry.
The area control and other abilities give this game a little take-that twist, which, it made for some tense moments in our game. I felt like it worked well with 2 players, has really appealing art, look at those animals, and uses dice for a worker placement mechanism, which I love. And if this countdown helps put some new games on your radar, then you could subscribe to the channel, which is something I would love too. So stop looking at me that way. Just subscribe. Another of Chaz's picks orbits this month's list at number 7, Quantum, a game of ever-evolving spaceships based on dice, which debuted in 2013. Quantum puts players in control of an advanced interstellar civilization, competing to claim star systems, research technologies, and build morphing spaceships, represented by 6-sided dice and available in half a dozen varieties, each with its own special abilities. The lower a ship's number, the more powerful, but slower it is. Here's Chaz with why he was, over the moon about this space game.
This game has all of the ingredients to become one of my all-time favorites. Dice, random tiles, special abilities, ground beef seasoning, and sometimes an egg for consistency.
Oh, not you too, Chaz.
Quantum uses dice, lots of them, and it uses them in a unique way to represent various spaceships. The space tiles allow for a unique map layout every single game. The special ability cards provide different advantages and help require changing one's approach from game to game. And the combos you can pull off by strategically morphing your fleet of ships at the right time make for clever plays and turns full of more surprises than a truck stop meatloaf. Quantum was recently put back onto my radar after I introduced it to my daughter, giving me this chance to recommend it once again to someone. And that someone being her, and she wins. I have never won this game.
Rodney's radar resonated in recognition of our next game, 2019's Babylonia from Ludnova. In Babylonia, players proudly prepare their peoples to perhaps prosper peacefully, pending permission of the empire's political powerhouse. Perfectly place princes, priests, and specialist pieces in poignant places to procure profitable partnerships throughout municipalities. Properly pushing parcels provides players with peculiar powers. And here's Rodney with more, because I suddenly have a pounding migraine.
I played this Reiner Knizia game for the very first time at Board Game Geek Con, which now feels like a lifetime ago. And it was a really delightful discovery. It's a very abstract token placing game, which came with what I believe was a very unintentional dexterity game built in. If you had those first printing token trays, I mean, I don't know what they were thinking. In this game, you'll be scoring points in a variety of ways, trying to take advantage of majorities. Now, because it's so abstract, it can be difficult to communicate the enjoyment of the game. And I suppose the same could be said of checkers or Kadinsky. For me, the fun really isn't in the theme. It's in the challenging choices you'll find yourself forced to make. Now, this game got on my radar because it sat for too long on my shelf, untouched, like an overcooked meatloaf. So I decided it was time to get it off the shelf again so I could enjoy it like I once had with my friends at BGG-Con.
Midway up this month's list is another game Matthew mentioned, The Rival Networks from Formal Ferret Games. The Rival Networks is a 2-player version of the game about finding shows to fill out your television station's programming schedule, The Networks. Much of the original game's gameplay is preserved, but streamlined so that it plays in 30 to 45 minutes. Players will compete to secure a variety of ridiculous presentations for their stations, with the winner being the one that has attracted the most viewers after 3 seasons.
That's right, lady co-host, whose name I definitely remember. The Networks is perhaps the most pun-filled game series in history. And that's something that, you might say, makes this a game that I am quite looking forward to playing.
That wasn't a pun, Matthew. After all that lead up, I really thought you were going to make a pun.
Sorry, you could say that I just couldn't think of one.
That wasn't a pun either.
Yeah, I told you I couldn't think of one.
Well, that's disappointing. Chaz, do you have any puns you want to make?
What? Oh, sorry. All this meatloaf talk has made me hungry.
Well, can you at least tell us about this episode's other sponsor?
Absolutely. This episode was also made possible by the National Loafed Meat Council and the Versus System 2-player card game's 3-part Civil War Battles story arc. Choose a side and then jump into the Civil War battles with their first giant-sized issue kicking off the 3-part Civil War story arc. Power up your deck with iconic characters like Captain America and Iron Man, plus Ultra Girl, who can read your opponent's energy aura to sneak a peek at their cards, and Spider-Man, sporting the Iron Spider suit. Then, with your allies at the ready, wage war for the future of all superheroes. The first chapter in the Civil War battle story arc is coming out this very month, so find it at your local friendly game store or follow the link in this video's description to upperdeckstore.com, and then suit up and prepare for the fight of your life against friend and foe.
Before we discuss our top 3 picks of the month, we have the game in spot number 4, because that's how numbers work. It's Destinies from Lucky Duck Games, picked by both Rodney and Chaz. Destinies is a competitive, story-driven game of adventure and exploration, utilizing an app and scannable cards to enhance the core game. This is the first in a planned series of games using a brand new system, also called Destinies, in which each player is a hero on a quest to fulfill their, you guessed it, their fate.
It's a Lucky Duck Games title. It had a very successful Kickstarter. It's fantasy themed, and it has miniatures. Now, all of that would certainly be enough to at least get the game onto my radar, but in this case I'm cheating a little, as I recently released the tutorial video for this game, so I know quite a bit about it, and I have to say it really impressed me. I'd gotten a demo of the game in 2019 and it promised explorable scenarios on an expanding map with app integration to handle encounters and quests, but I wasn't expecting the quality of this production. It comes with loads of miniatures, dual layer boards, and a fantastic storage solution, all of which fits inside of this rather modest-sized box, at least in part because the miniatures are mini miniatures, microatures. In terms of gameplay, you'll take the role of a character with their own private destiny. 2 actually, and when playing you'll be trying to fulfill one of your destinies before your opponent does. You're not working against each other. Not exactly. You're just each motivated by different things as you explore the world together. Now this game is staying on my radar because it's one I'm looking forward to playing all the way through now that I've had a chance to spend some time with it.
Chaz, is there anything you'd like to add?
Could I use my time to talk about the National Loafed Meat Council?
No, and I don't care how much they've bribed you with.
Yes, bribed. Definitely bribed, not blackmailed.
Our top 3 begins with one of Matthew's selections, the brand new Commands and Colors Samurai Battles from GMT Games, in which players portray important engagements of Japanese history. The battles, included in the game's scenario booklet, focus on the historical deployment of forces and important terrain features and scale with the game system. The scale of the game is flexible and varies from battle to battle. In some scenarios, an infantry unit may represent an entire clan of soldiers, while in other scenarios, a unit may represent just a few brave warriors. There are no scenarios in which a unit represents a freshly planted sandalwood tree.
You bet your chopped onions and breadcrumbs that I picked Samurai Battles this month. I love the Command and Colour system. Absolutely love it. I wish it would wrap its rulebook pages around me and hold me tight during thunderstorms. And this one takes place in historical Japan, one of my favourite personal settings, second only to the Bigfoot-infested Northern California woodlands, or a candlelit dinner of carrots and rectangular baked meat forms.
Okay, I don't know why you guys are working in so many meatloaf references, but I'm over it. I don't want to hear another one, not a single one.
Paula, please. You're tampering with forces you don't understand.
What are you talking about?
The National Loafed Meat Council is more powerful than you could possibly imagine.
Let's just move on to the next game, okay?
Yeah, that's probably for the best, because someone in an unmarked black van just threw an overcooked meatloaf through my kitchen window.
It's begun.
Our second highest scoring game this month is the newly released, visually striking Holy Festival of Colors from Floodgate Games. In Holy Festival of Colors, players gather to celebrate the end of winter as they spread colorful powder on everything and everyone, dancing and celebrating new beginnings. One of this game's interesting features is its unique 3-tier board. Players must physically ascend to higher levels in order to have their powder fall from above, giving up victory points for better control. Each game can have slightly different scoring conditions, adding depth and providing replayability to this puzzle-like area control game. I recently learned more about the holiday Holi, which was celebrated at the end of March. Friends who celebrate Holi were telling me that this game really captures the feeling of this holiday, with the colors dropping on passerbys like they drop in the game. It made me want to know more about both the game and the festival. I love when a game opens me up to new experiences and bear attacks. So Holi, color me impressed. And the game that garnered the most votes to pop a stop in the top hot spot this month is The Key, Murder at the Oakdale Club, published by Haba Games and picked by Rodney. The game opens following a dramatic series of moitas at the Oakdale Golf Club. Now, our savvy sleuths start their investigations by examining clues about the perpetrators, times of the crimes, murder weapons, crime scenes, and getaway vehicles, attempting to deduce the correct number code, which will put the perpetrators behind bars.
I heard Marty and Vanessa Cannell on the Rolling Dice and Taking Names podcast discussing this game, and it sounded really clever. A board game take on one of those logic puzzle mysteries where you know a smattering of the facts, such as the killer wore red, and the murder weapon did not match what the killer was wearing, and the body was found next to the killer's overcooked meatloaf. Those sorts of things. And then you have to rearrange those facts until there's only one possible answer. The catch is that you discover each clue fragment one at a time from a collection of face-down cards on the table. Each player takes cards at their own pace, meaning that everyone will have their own unique pieces of the puzzle to work with. However, every clue you take will cost you points, and you not only want to solve the mystery, but also want to do it as efficiently as possible because you're not rewarded just for getting the right answer, but for getting it by using the least number of cards. This game was so on my radar that I went out and bought it, and I've played it several times since, and I really enjoyed it. You might want to check this one out.
Thanks, Rodney. Which games and culinary concoctions are on your radar this month? Share a comment with us to let us know. Until next time, I'm Paula Deming from Things Get Dicey. This game is broken, and watch it played. Bye, y'all.
The anti-meatloaf sentiment expressed by Paula Deming do not reflect those of Watch It Played, YouTube, or the board game entertainment industry. The National Loafed Meat Council was founded in 1721 with a commitment to the advancement of meat in all forms, including but not limited to loaf, sliced, diced, rolled, boiled, barbecued, roasted, and grilled, with satellite offices dedicated to the study of tofu. Learn more about the National Loafed Meat Council at the local Chamber of Commerce or online at nationalloafedmeatcouncil.org.